Welcome back to Bahamas at Sunrise. We are here at the 41st Regional Commonwealth Parliamentary Association Conference for the Caribbean, Americas, and Atlantic region. One of the highlights of this conference is an upcoming keynote address by Mr. Akbar, Secretary General of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Since January, Mr. Khan has been charged with the administration and management of more than 17,000 parliamentarians in 185 legislatures across the Commonwealth. It is our pleasure to have him here with us this morning. Mr. Khan, welcome to the Bahamas and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Good morning, I'm delighted to be here.
Your association has been around since 1911. You're about to host your 62nd General Conference. This region is in its 41st conference. What is the reason for the CPA's longevity and its ability to maintain relevance after all of these decades?
That's a very good question, and before I start, let me say I'm delighted to be back here in the region. I'm a child of this region.
Yes,
I'm born
yes.
in Guyana, and so it's always a pleasure to come here and to be hosted by the Honourable Speaker. The longevity of the association, as you rightly say, is 105 years old now. And I think back in 1911, when we were founded on the basis of creating a parliamentary community, a community which would exchange views and connect and develop together to meet the challenges of parliamentary democracy. Those challenges still remain today across the Commonwealth. And in fact, when you look at the challenges facing parliamentarians in 1911 to where they are today, particularly in small developing countries, the challenges are even greater today. And therefore, I think our longevity is very much based on the fact that the organization has been able to evolve. It has grown so that back in 1911, I think we had something like 6 legislatures. Today we have 180 plus legislatures. And that is a reflection of the fact that there has been obviously decolonization. Most of our branches are from the colonies following independence, but there has been this growth in parliamentary democracy. And there's a need to continue to upskill parliamentarians, but also to strengthen parliaments.
Well, tell us a little bit more about the structure of the CPA.
Well, the CPA structure in terms of its supreme body is the General Assembly, and the General Assembly meets once a year in the margins of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference. And as you rightly say, that is planned right now. The 62nd Parliamentary Conference, annual conference of the membership, is due to be held in Dhaka on the 1st to the 10th of September. Below the General Assembly, there is an executive committee which represents our 9 regions of the Commonwealth, and parliamentarians are on that executive committee representing the 9 regions, and that executive committee elects officers. And so there is a chairperson who's currently the Honourable Speaker of the Parliament from Bangladesh. And I want to point out also that this region is represented through the Honourable Speaker for Montserrat, Shirley Osborne, who is the Vice Chair of the International Executive Committee and has done a fantastic job in promoting this region within the organisation. And there are other officers, there's a treasurer, there's also a chairperson for Commonwealth Women's Parliamentarians, which is a very important part of our constitutional arrangements. That executive committee are essentially my steering group, my steering board who sets a strategic direction. And then below that is myself as the chief executive of the organisation, and the secretariat is based in London. And so the executive committee provides the steer and we implement those decisions. And each of the regions have their own executive committee, and they also come together, as we are here in the Caribbean, Americas and Atlantic region, in order to hold the annual 41st conference.
Well, I'll tell you, in an association of 185 parliaments and legislatures, what is the impact of the Caribbean, Americas and Atlantic region of 17 or so parliaments?
Well, it's significant. I mean, the nature of the organization is equality. It is around the values of the Commonwealth, which are sovereign countries, and in our case, those legislatures. What is particularly important about the way in which we operate as an association is that we we don't only represent national legislatures within our 53 Commonwealth countries, we also represent the subnational legislatures. And so therefore the breadth and depth of the expertise in terms of honing parliamentary democracy is enormous. And I echo what the Honourable Speaker said, that within the family of the CPA, whoever you may be in terms of the size of your legislature or the complexity of the issue in which you're grappling with, the breadth and the depth of the expertise and experience within the CPA family is so broad that somebody will have dealt with that issue before. And therefore it is that sort of coming together of the parliamentary community in gatherings such as we are holding here this week, which help to exchange ideas, which help to hone those ideas and refine them. And as a result of that, parliamentarians begin to upskill themselves and see different perspectives, and that's the lifeblood of the organisation.
Yeah. Well, being originally from Guyana,
Yes.
You have an idea of how parliaments function in this region. What have you observed as the state of our regional parliaments?
Well, I think, the state of your regional parliaments are really no different from when we look across other parts of the Commonwealth in terms of size and complexity of your legislatures. I think one of the greatest challenges for legislatures in this region are size and capacity. So the issue of resources is always core. When you have very small legislatures, how do you meet the demands of the 21st century? And that, of course, is a challenge for larger legislatures as well. So in many respects, the challenges are similar, although the resolution of how you resolve those, given your size and your resources, will be very local to you. And so therefore it's very important to have those conversations to see how others within the region, but also cross-regionally, are dealing with those challenges. In terms of democracy in this region, I think this is a region which continues, as many regions across our membership, to aspire to serve its people in the best possible way. And I think a demonstration of that commitment and that sincerity is the fact that we have here today and over the coming days 70 plus parliamentarians coming together to discuss the very pressing issues of how Parliament delivers and represents the people of which they serve. And that in itself, I think, is a sincere demonstration of how important parliamentarians take their responsibilities towards the public. And this theme of modernisation, it is a constant theme across Parliament. I had the privilege of being in Tonga in the Pacific last week, and a very similar theme was being addressed there about navigating the modern challenges of today. So it is a common theme across the Commonwealth. It is an important theme across the Commonwealth because parliaments today are faced with pressing demands from members of the public in order to show that they are responsive to the public. When you think about the role of parliaments, and they are essential institutions in the national life of any nation, and they're very much part of the identity of a nation. And therefore their functionality, their effectiveness, and their ability to amplify the voices of all of their citizens, young and old, and women and other groups, and be truly representative, is an ongoing concern for me as Secretary General to ensure that parliaments are meeting those needs.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Khan, you certainly know exactly what it is that you are about to achieve. We wish you a very productive week here in the Bahamas, and we hope that you enjoy your stay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.